FYI.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. Martin Houston Show can also be seen on the Martin Houston Radio Network. It's the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Martin Houston Speaks. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. We're live, local, and ready to get things going. And want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, 205-342-9904. The Alabama One hotline is open for business. And, of course, all of you who join us on the radio network online, you can always chat us up to get in on the conversation. We'll incorporate your thoughts into the conversation. We have DC on with us this morning. So it'll be Martin, DC, and X, and Aiden behind the glass. And we're going to bring back one of our old segments, make it tried and true, and make it a big part of the show as we head into the off season. The true false segment. You're always welcome to post your true false question in the chat box or call us at 205-342-9904, the Alabama One hotline, and add it to the conversation, and we'll make it a part of our discussion. Got some great questions lined up for you, so we'll get to those in just a moment. And as we move into the program, I want to remind you that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Oh, good and great, Martin. Good morning, Martin. Good morning, X.
Yeah, glad to have you back with us, DC. We missed you last week, but glad to have you back in with us full speed this morning. And listen, we got a lot we can talk about. We're gonna do true false, but we're also the playbook today is also going to incorporate at the end of the true false. We'll end with a Bama question or two, and then transition into Bama hoops versus Memphis. The Alabama Crimson Tide sitting at number 4. Is that the correct ranking? Should they be higher or lower? And also, we'll incorporate into the true false. Should the Alabama fans be reading anything into the silence of Bryce Young and Will Anderson regarding whether we'll see them again? So we can incorporate all that. DC, go ahead and be getting your 3-point shot ready. I know it's been a while since we did that, but for the new listeners out there, 3-point shot is where DC tell me what 3 things Alabama needs to do if Alabama does these 3 things or a couple of these 3 things, then they will win. So we'll have that as a part of the conversation. But hey, listen, we're ready to get things started with true false. You guys, if you have a true false, please, hey, don't hesitate. DC Aiden is throwing me out one. I think that's a really good one that we'll incorporate into the true false scenario. But you guys have one. Make sure you let us go. And actually, we'll start with yours. You and I both had this one down, and I made it a two-parter. Should Holloman Wiggins in the Bama Nation, should Bama be concerned with Holloman Wiggins, and should he be concerned, I guess is a better way, that he's on the way out based on the way we've seen this offseason play out with the wide receiver position?
Yes.
True or false? It's not yes or no. It's true, false. You have to play the game right, X. No, I'm just kidding.
True. I look at this. Since he's gotten here in 2019, Alabama has signed 13 wide receivers out of high school, not including the 2023 class, and had 3 guys transfer in. Of the 13 high school guys, 6 have transferred. John Mechie is in the NFL. Ja'Cory Brooks has been solid, not spectacular. And then for the most part, just had a bunch of role guys. And then, of course, J-Mo gives him prop up because of the season he had. And then he gets credit for Devontae Smith and his Heisman season, even though we know Devontae had developed as a guy before he was even here.
Yeah, DC, I'll let you respond.
Oh, I say it's definitely true. I think he should be concerned about his future as a coach. I think that he's one of the reasons I believe that the development has been off in the wide receivers. I don't know who else to put it on. It seems like we've recruited maybe some players that were misses, but I don't think all of those players were misses during that time. But I think the scheme, the offensive scheme that he's been playing in is has left a little bit to desire to get the ball to the wideouts. But I still think he is the one that the only one we had to look to as far as those who coach and develop. And I don't think there's any secret that the wide receivers haven't developed over the last couple of years as the way they were developing when we had such great wideouts there at Alabama. So I think that, yes, that answer's got to be true.
Yeah, I would say true that he is definitely the guy who, if you're listening, hot seats from a position coach, you would have to throw him at the top of that list. We can address coordinators potentially separate. And Xavier, you mentioned Devontae Smith. If you go back and watch, Devontae Smith was the best player probably 3 or 4 different times when our other guys in big games, LSU games, I think a Mississippi State game, where Devontae either broke the record for most catches, most yards. So before he won the Heisman, you had already seen the flashes of him and what he could do, dating all the way back to his national championship catch. I guess a follow-up true false to that question was the wide receiver the most disappointing position? DC, you go first.
True. In my opinion, I think it's true. We'd heard so many things about the new talent, the speed, the transfers in, the route running ability, and none of that showed up on the field during the game. So I think that was the most disappointing position.
X, you have any thoughts on that?
Well.
You what?
I'm going to go with true as well.
Well,
most of these guys were top 100 guys that we expected to see a lot of, and you're just talking about a lack of production. I mean, outside of Jameson transferring in, Devontae already being proven. Mechie coming in before he was here or when he got here, but getting to work with guys like Judy and Smith and Ruggs and Waddle. You know, I think those guys helped Mechie more than Holloman Wiggins did. So that's the way I look at it. And then every guy that's been here only under him, it's been 6 transfers. Javon Baker, Trayshawn Holden, Ja'Cory Brooks, Jai Hall, Christian Leary, JoJo Earl, Aaron Anderson, and then Ty Jones Bell doesn't play. So you got 2 classes where you've gotten 0 effect outside of Ja'Cory Brooks.
Yeah. Big time concern. Trayshawn Holden lands in Oregon. Anderson out. With that said, you have to think that next year wide receiver is trending toward being the most disappointing of the positions once again, potentially. DC, when you look at these guys, and this is not a true false, but I'd like to get your thought. What do you contribute it to as far as, okay, we're saying who the person is, but, and you briefly mentioned the scheme, but what do you think the biggest challenge, problem, issue is that wide receivers are leaving Alabama?
Well, I think it's kind of a trifecta. I think number one is Bryce Young is not going to be here to throw the ball, and they're not. I don't think they have confidence in those that are behind him right now that we have that are proven what they can do, because some of them have been given a chance to do that, have been developed because all the the work has been into Bryce Young, and rightly so. He was the best offense player on the team. So that's one part of it. The other one is the scheme that I talked about, the offensive coordinator. I think some of them don't have confidence in the offensive coordinator. That's the second thing. And thirdly, I believe it has to go back to the coaching. And one of 2 things: either missing on recruits, missed on that many recruits, which I don't think that's the answer. Two is I don't think there's been developed any kind of relationship. I think that's big in any team sport. It's big to be able to hold together a group even when you're not playing because of relationships. And I don't think for some reason there's not been any camaraderie or relationships with the coaches or with the players in this. If you looked at some of the players that X just named down the line, Ruggs, Judy, Devontae Smith, John Mechie, even Jameson Williams, they transfer in. They call themselves a name. They had a name for themselves. They call themselves the Rideouts. They were in the back of the ambulance when one of them got hurt after the Tennessee game. Waddle. They were working together off season. They were working with every quarterback that came through there, whether it was Hurts or Tua or Mac Jones. They had bought into a team dynamic. Well, I think that is missing with this group, and I go back to coaching. I think that's developed. You instill that leaders lead, and for some reason, I don't think we've had that in this group.
Very, very, very good. There's a couple of things. I told someone the other day, the amazing thing about Alabama's great run on wide receivers that came to an end this year is that even though we've had the best wide receivers and the top wide receivers in the country, amongst the top, they were none prima donnas. I mean, you look at their attitudes, their mindsets, and the way they carried themselves. And what was and Trayshawn Holden and Burton came in with this bravado before they ever did anything. And so that was kind of a different attitude and mindset of the wide receivers Alabama's had. Let me ask you this real quick, and both of you respond to this, and then we'll get the break, kind of make your answer as quick as possible. Trayshawn Holden is going to Oregon, and this is not an Alabama question. do you think it's possible? I think Patrick Nix was a fourth-year senior, right?
Bo Nix, yeah.
Bo Nix. Is it possible that Bo Nix is coming back, and does this end up helping Trayshawn with a great fit?
I think that him going there is an indication that Bo Nix is coming back. I would think he's already had that relationship talk with him about whether he's coming back or not, and that's probably one of the recruiting efforts there. So yeah, I definitely agree. I think he's coming back.
I do believe that Bo Nix will be back at Oregon. You know, he has this COVID year to use, and I mean, he's not in the conversation for the top quarterbacks this year, but maybe another year at Oregon to put him in that conversation. And adding a guy like Trayshawn that, if he can live up to the hype, can be really beneficial for both of them.
Yeah, and think about this. Does that make Bo Nix the top returning candidate? Because before they had that surprising loss, Bo Nix was working himself into the Heisman conversation. So that'll be interesting. Bo Nix may be the leading returning candidate for the Heisman outside of the returning Heisman. But as we saw with Bryce Young, you can have record-setting numbers as a Heisman returning player, and people look for more. So much so that Bryce doesn't get put on any All-SEC or All-American team. So Caleb Williams has his work cut out with him as a returning junior next year. Hey, we got lots more to get to on True False. Listen to this, guys, as we go to break. And this is a agree or disagree that you can answer on the way coming back. CJ Watson says, I perhaps give a pass to the running back coach. Depends on who I could hire. But if I'm making a decision, the only offensive coach I would retain is the O-line coach. You guys can respond to that on the other side. We also have a few more true-false questions. This is a show dedicated to true-false. You're welcome to get in on the conversation. Right here, we're talking about Alabama Crimson Tide. We will ring in the Bama hoops as Alabama hits the top 5 in basketball, ranked higher than the 5th-ranked Alabama football team. Mark Sears making a little noise with his statement. We'll talk about that and more right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier with DC Capstone Report sitting in.
Tax refund advance loans at Jackson Hewitt, up to $4,500. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. Eligible clients can get up to $1,000 in December and up to $3,500 in January. Loans by Republic Bank and Trust. Finance charge may apply.
Hey, Pete, how's business? It's great. Foot traffic's still way down, but more people are finding me online. Nice. How'd you pull that off? Well, the first thing I did was go to mylocalcustomers.com to see exactly how many searches there were for businesses like mine. So I guess there were a lot? Yeah, there were hundreds of local searches every month. So after I saw that, they helped me position my business online to get in front of those customers. That's awesome. I wonder how many people are searching for my services around here. Well, it's quick and easy to get the answer. Plus, it's free. Just go to mylocalcustomers.com to find out. If there are a lot of searches, you should definitely get in front of them. If there aren't, no harm, no foul.
Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free local customer analysis that will show you how many customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, powered by Pepsi.
The West Alabama Chamber of Commerce encourages you to shop local this holiday season. They want you to flock to our local businesses. So join their Fa La 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 Men Go Shop Local Challenge. Each weekday morning, November 28th through December 16th, the Chamber will post a clue to which local business the Flamingo is hiding that day. The first person to find the Flamingo and bring it to the Chamber will receive a gift card to that location. Don't miss out on the clues. Follow on social media at West Alabama Chamber.
Tide 100.9. Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky will stay mostly cloudy today and tonight. Just a small chance of a shower. The high today 64, tonight's low 59. Tomorrow, rain and thunderstorms move in. That rain could be heavy at times. The high tomorrow at 67 degrees. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 58 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Back in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier with DC Capstone Report sitting in on this True or False Tuesday. Want to get you in on the conversation? You can join us at 205-342-9904, or you can add your thoughts and you can add your thoughts to the conversation via chat. CJ Watson kind of throwing out a gauntlet out there, guys. True, false. If you're the coach, and we got our old coach for the day that we do, and we asked the question last week: what would you change? As a coach for a day, and I last week I said other than the coordinator, but I guess based on this, DC and X. TJ saying he changing everybody but the offensive line coach, and he might give the running back coach a pass. What are your thoughts? True, false? If you're the man making the decision, you getting rid of everybody but the offensive line coach.
Well,
I'm gonna go false.
I would say false on that one. I would not get rid of everybody with the offensive line coach, but I would keep the offensive line coach. I do agree with CJ on that. I think the offensive line coach has proven that he has the ability to do what he's supposed to do. I do think the running backs coach is. I don't see any reason why he should go. I think it all starts with leadership in the head, and I think that the offensive coordinator is a position that has to be replaced or needs to be replaced. We've already talked about what I felt like the wide receiver position. I think that needs to be a change made there. I think those two changes would make a big difference in the offense, the way the offense is run.
What about a tight end coach? Do you feel good with what we're getting out of that position?
I'm gonna go false. And I'm keeping Gillespie for sure as well. As far as Joe Cox in the tight end position, it was a very young position this year. You had Latu as a senior, and then a bunch of sophomores and true freshmen. But I mean, I like what you can get out of Robbie Oots as that H-back, tight end, fullback type of player. And then as far as Amari Knobloch and Elijah Brown and some of these other young guys, I think that we just got to see them on the field and see them get an actual opportunity. And I think that part of the reason why we did this year is because of the offensive coordinator more so than them being ready or the position coach.
I'm going to have to agree with X because, I don't know that we have enough information to evaluate the tight ends coach because his players don't get the ball thrown to him enough, and he had them in positions to get the ball, but it seemed like the offensive coordinator lacked confidence to throw it to anybody but Cameron Latu, and I just think that it starts with the offensive coordinator.
I can agree with you both on that. In terms of the offensive coordinator, which when you say offensive coordinator and you look at some of the comments that are coming in on chat, you could go down that rabbit hole and stay there for a little while, but we'll move to a different question. And this question is just kind of one of those interesting thought thinkers, not meaning today, but if I were to give you these three names, would these three names potentially be the GOAT in their respective arenas? Saban, Belichick, and Brady. True, false? You make them the GOAT at their respective positions, right?
Yes.
I would say true.
Yes.
Head coach, NFL, college, and pro quarterback, would you say?
Yeah. Would you say we're watching the end of three GOATs all kind of collide in one season? Not that it ends this year, but are we seeing that all kind of begin at the beginning of the end, as they say? And here's the question: is Saban and Belichick's stubbornness to hold on to what I would say is not great offensive coordinators gonna be their demise if they don't make changes? DC, you up first.
I would say true to all those statements. I think that all three of those are the GOATs in their positions, and all three of those are at the beginning of the end of their careers based on their age. And I think that Coach Saban and Coach Belichick have proven their stubbornness over the years, that seems to be, for sure. And unless they make decisions to change those things around them, which I think they could, if they make those decisions, I think they would make their careers even longer and be the best in their field even longer. But, I think in the past their stubbornness has proven to be, tough for each one of them to overcome.
X?
Yeah, I think as far as Brady, I mean, he's 45 years old. So, Father Time has a limit on you when it comes to playing any sport. And he's played at a skill position longer than anyone else has. And so I think his days are numbered just because of that. But when you look at Belichick and Saban, I think they are both capable of extending their careers. When you look at Saban, I think there's just a few things he needs to change. And I think, when it comes to Belichick, you're looking at a guy that hired a guy that's been a defensive coach for 15, 16 years to be his offensive coordinator. And I don't know how you expect to win that way. But I think they both can make changes to extend their coaching careers.
FYI, Joe Judge is also the quarterback coach, a special teams guy and a head coach, but I don't think he's ever coached quarterbacks. So thus the frustration we probably have seen from Mac Jones the last couple of weeks. Follow up to that question, guys, specifically to Alabama from Kevin Smith. Saban will sign the number one class this year. He's far from being done, but there have to be adjustments. As you say that's a true statement, but the question is, if he doesn't make the adjustments, is the recruiting enough in today's game to keep us in that top 1 or 2, 3 programs where we're playing for the championship year in and year out? DC?
Well, I think the adjustments have to be made. I think so I think your statement is true. If you don't make adjustments, I don't think his career is going to continue on a trajectory that it's going to be on a downward trajectory. So I don't see any way that this Alabama team is going to be able to be and reach its full potential next year with the number one class being signed, unless some kind of adjustments are made. I keep going back to it. There needs to be something in the coaching staff that brings these young men together. Coming in this day and age with NIL and people telling you how much you're worth before you ever get there, before you ever do anything, there's a lot of coaching leadership that has to be there to be able to make these guys realize that there still has to be work to be done in order to reach your full potential. And even if we sign the number one class without making some adjustments in the coaching staff, I don't think we reach our full potential as a team.
Hey, take about 30 seconds and reply on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think something has to give. If something doesn't give, I don't think it matters if we're having the number one class year in and year out, because you have to develop these guys. A bunch of true freshmen that are 5 stars will never beat consistently. They will never beat a bunch of guys that have been playing at the college level for 3 to 5 years. And I think that's something that you saw a couple times this year, especially against a team like Tennessee. That was a very veteran-led team versus a bunch of talent that hadn't been proven yet.
Yes, and I would say as we go to break here, we got a question that Aiden asked, so we're going to ask that coming back on the other side. We got a question coming up from Curtis Lewis as well. We're going to add that to the conversation, and we got a couple callers. We'll get you guys in. So we got lots of conversation going on here, and I love it. And we're going to keep breaking it down right here. And as we go to break, I want you to think about this. You guys have mentioned leadership. You've mentioned development. You've mentioned coming together, camaraderie. And so the question becomes, was the ability to become a team, the discipline, all that stuff was missing? Was the development of the players of this team its biggest downfall? And we're only 2 plays away from, even though we could be 5 plays from having 5 losses, the other side of that coin that we're talking about is we're only 2 plays from being in the college football playoffs again. But if there's no changes, will the trajectory continue to go down with the fact that you have so many players leaving? Is that going to be enough, just bringing in talent on the bottom side versus keeping talent on the top side? We'll talk about it. You're in the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We'll get to Aiden's question coming back out of the break, and we'll get to those callers. So stay on the line, guys. We'll be back in just a moment.
This is a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update.
I'm Kim Rankin with your Tide Sports Update. 5-star class of 2023 edge rusher Keon Keeley has committed to the Alabama Crimson Tide. 5 Alabama players have been named AP All-Americans. Tuscaloosa Academy is number 1 in the 2A Alabama Association of Basketball Coaches poll.
This has been a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update. Run it again! For more info on these stories and more, download the Tide 100.9 app.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Have you been naughty or nice this year? Cash don't care. At Jackson Hewitt, you could still get up to $4,500 for the holidays. Some bucks now, more bucks in January. So be naughty. Snap up all the ginger snaps. Wear a pretty sweater to an ugly sweater holiday party. You could still get up to $4,500 when you go to Jackson Hewitt today. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. Eligible clients can get up to $1,000 in December and up to $3,500 in January. Loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Finance charge may apply.
At the Home Depot, we have the tools to make gift-giving magic for all the DIYers on your list. If they prefer working on real homes over gingerbread houses, you can't go wrong with Makita Power Tools, like the 18-volt 2-tool kit for only $249, or the 18-volt compact circular saw for only $139. Get everything you need to get it done with new lower prices on Makita Power Tools only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, powered by Pepsi.
If you have a community event in Tuscaloosa in West Alabama, tell us about it. All you have to do is email the information to TuscaloosaPSA@townsquaremedia.com. Be sure to include all the details like the cause, date, time, location, and a good contact name and number. Email it to TuscaloosaPSA@townsquaremedia.com.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
What a morning, man. It's been some great conversation going, and we're going to keep it going right here on the Martin Houston Show. Got a couple questions pending. Curtis Lewis responding to the question we went to break. No, recruiting without development is a recipe for failure. So false. You cannot just develop people, not develop people and just recruit talent and it transfer to winning. Ask the Georgia Bulldogs what happens when you have a coaching staff, Xavier in DC, when you have a coaching staff that goes from just recruiting talent, which Mark Richt did at a high level, but Kirby came in and recruited at a little bit higher level, but developed at an even higher level. And now you see not only do they win, but they're able to stockpile and reload. So Saban has proven that he is capable of changing. He changes offense and defense to adjust to the new philosophies. I agree with that. The question is, will Saban make the ultimate change that's ultimately his identity, and that's the DBs? That's the question. Will he change that? That may be a great true false question one day. All right. Aiden had the following question, so I'll let Aiden answer it, and then we'll go to the phone calls, and you guys, DC, you respond to the caller first, and then you X next. But Aiden's question is Alabama's next quarterback on the current roster? Aiden, I'll let you respond to your own true-false question first.
Martin, I don't think they are. I think our friend Hardy Graham, one of the interns here at Tide 109, really hit the nail on the head when he made about a week and a half ago the case for one Grayson McCall out of Coastal Carolina to transfer to Alabama with Jamie Chadwell, his head coach, leaving for Liberty. And Grayson McCall has now entered the transfer portal as of yesterday or the day before. Kid has set FBS records previously held by Joe Burrow and Mac Jones for passer efficiency, which is a huge part of Alabama's offense, especially if Bill O'Brien happens to stay. Great touchdown interception ratio, great 8,000 yards over 3 years, 3-time Sun Belt Player of the Year. And the best part is, for Alabama fans, when we talk about guys that are committed and dedicated to their program, he has entered the transfer portal, but he made it clear in his announcement. He said, I want to finish what I started here at Coastal Carolina, and I will be playing in the bowl game.
Repeat that last statement.
Grayson McCall, he said in his transfer portal statement, he said, I want to finish what I started, and I will be playing in the bowl game, which is something I think Alabama fans should really admire about the guy.
Oh, wow. That's true. Curtis said, true. If he isn't on the roster, then that will speed up the demise of this program.
Well, a lot of people have said that. They're like, you can't just bring in a plug-and-play quarterback. Jake Coker came in with 2 years of eligibility and won us national championships. I kind of reject the premise of that.
I don't think the premise is whether we win a championship. I think all of a sudden the recruiting changes. If you keep bringing in guys, Aiden, I'm going to tell you, guys will stop coming here at the same level if they don't see their path to the NFL through Alabama. And they won't see that if Saban develops a reputation. I'm not saying he will have that with this quarterback, but the people who are saying that isn't about whether McCall coming in would help us win a championship. The question becomes, do we then lose Jalen Milroe? Do we lose Ty Simpson? Does Eli Holstein transfer or not sign? It's a question you have to be ready to answer. And Saban at that point in his career may be okay with that. Because he could be down to the last 2 or 3 years of his career. Who knows? I don't know. But I think that's what they're saying, and not necessarily – I think McCall would definitely make us better than either one of the guys we currently have for 2023. And we can talk about that. We'll talk about that maybe on Thursday. Is McCall the linchpin that makes us feel better about our 2023 season? Let's get to Pat. Pat, you in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning. You guys talking doom and gloom. Let me see if I can talk y'all off the edge this morning. You go to Google this morning. The number one search on Google, or the number one thing that pops up on Google, is one Keon Keeley to the University of Alabama.
Does he play quarterback, Pat?
No, he ain't a quarterback.
Does he play wide receiver, Pat?
No, but
does he call offensive plays, Pat?
He plays what Will Anderson plays, sir. And
okay. Hold on, Pat. He played the same thing as Will Anderson did. Okay.
Yep.
If you had a choice between Keon Keeley and Will Anderson for 2023, who you taking?
Hey.
Hold on. Answer the question, Pat.
To the NFL.
Pat, answer the question, Pat. Hold on. Pat, answer the question. Yeah. Are you taking Keon Keeley or Will Anderson?
I think I'm taking Keon Keeley because I got Keon Keeley for 2 more years. Will Anderson's gone.
Okay, so you're telling me Keon Keeley will make Alabama a national championship contender next year?
Yes, sir.
Over Will Anderson.
Over Will Anderson next year.
Yep. I'm going with Keeley. We miss on these players a lot. Will's been good, but Will hadn't been fabulous as he as.
And you think a true freshman is going to be better than Will Anderson as a senior?
Will Anderson's gone. Will Anderson is leaving.
You can have Will Anderson back.
Y'all are playing.
You're taking a true freshman over a senior Will Anderson.
Y'all are playing hypotheticals.
So are you, Pat? Because we don't know what Keon's going to be yet, and you got to remember, you still got Dallas Turner coming back. You got Chris Braswell coming back. You got Jeremiah Alexander, who was the number one outside linebacker in the 2022 class. Yep. We don't know if Keon's going to get on the field next year.
Hey, look! I tell you what I do know. I talked to some Red Elephant Club members, and there's going to be wholesale changes on this coaching staff. Yeah, wholesale changes.
All right, Pat. But we are excited, Pat. It's good to get Keon Keeley. I'm harassing you, but Pat, I'm telling you. I know. Oh yeah, without a doubt, I'm going to harass you. But Pat, if we're expecting these freshmen in this class to be the savior of the Alabama football program, we're in worse shape than I thought we were.
They've got to be Martin Houston with the amount of people that have gone to the portal as far as receivers.
But you're talking about a defensive guy.
Better be our saviors.
Yeah, but you're talking about a defensive guy, Pat. And that's not where we need to help is outside linebacker. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one. Call back, Pat. I love it. Y'all, any listeners out there, Pat and I have a special relationship. I love harassing Pat, and Pat tries to give it back sometimes. But let's get to Todd. Todd, you're with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier in DC. What's on your mind? Is Todd still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead, Todd.
I'm here. Yeah, great. Good morning, gentlemen. Great conversation. I was just wanting to continue commenting on these players getting their minds right. DC had made the comment about previous wide receivers, how they banded together. The old saying, you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. You can provide the water, you can provide everything, provide the pasture, provide the grass, provide the fence. And, something has to come from within these players. And I believe, this generation, this little class here, this mass exodus of these players, they were missing something from within themselves. So you'll see if Saban doesn't make some drastic changes the way we all would desire for him to do. I mean, we're talking about the greatest coach potentially of all time that coached the game of football. We're suggesting he'll make changes. Man, that's a bold statement to make those statements because, like I said, these players, their minds, we can't draw them to us. They have to want to come to us and stay with us and play with us and band together and jump in that ambulance and ride with that player to the hospital. You know what the Bible says, man hath no greater love than to lay down his life for his friends. We need players that want to lay down their life for their teammates. And I believe that's what we were missing this year. 2 plays away from being in, like you said, a few more points, a few more plays from being 2 more losses. So one way or the other, it could have been so much worse. And then we really would have been we really would have been dogging these coaches out, maybe even Saban. But I mean, we brought Saban in. He's done what he's done for all these years. And I'm gonna ride with him, man. I kind of hope he makes some changes, but if he don't, man, I got to get behind him and I got to support him and I got to lift him up and pray for him and that these guys can really watch these high school players not only on their film, but what are they doing outside of their high school teams? Are they in the community? Are they that player that jumps in the ambulance with the other players and rides with the player to the hospital or whatever they may do? Are they banding together on their high school teams? What's their mindset before they get here? It's just back to the mindset, Martin. I'm not going to apologize for staying on the mindset of the players and coaches.
Yeah. Hey, and Todd, I appreciate that. We got to get a break here, but Todd, I agree. And we say mindset, but we need to understand having the right mindset means that you set your mind to something. And so in this team, their mindset coming in, they're recruited to the NFL, they're recruited to their own brand, they're recruited to make it to the pros, NIL and all that now versus recruited to the Crimson jersey. So where the Crimson jersey may used to bring them all together and the staff brought them all together, it's going to be a new game, new season moving forward. Thanks, Todd. Appreciate your patience and appreciate that content. Come back on the other side. We're going to do some rapid fire, true false with DC. We may pick up some true false on tomorrow with Xavier and I, but we're going to get DC's thoughts on a couple other things and get his thoughts on this Bama basketball team. That conversation coming up next right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning with Northport Mayor Bobby Herndon resigning at the end of the year and Council President Jeff Hogg stepping down from that position, so he will not be the new mayor. Councilman John Hinton is next in line. The mayor's office is largely ceremonial in Northport. Hogg says he wants to continue serving the voters who elected him in District 5 and is better suited to do that as a member of the council. The mayor does not cast a vote on matters affecting the city. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
This Christmas, give your family the ultimate gift everyone will enjoy. A new boat from Boatworks in Northport. If you fish, Boatworks carries Camus Bass Boats by Earl Bentz and powered by Mercury Outboards. If you want to relax and cruise on the water, Boatworks. carries Miranda and Viaggio tunes, powered by Mercury Outboards. Give your family the ultimate Christmas gift this year. A new bass boat or pontoon from Boatworks, where they sell fun. Located in the old L&L Marine location on Highway 82 West in Northport.
Light sparkle, ornament sparkle. You might even have some sparkling wine, but nothing sparkles at Christmas time like diamonds.
Tom Osmond from Fincher and Osmond Jewelers.
Diamond stud earrings always fit perfectly and go with everything. If she already has a pair of diamond stud earrings, we can upgrade them. Fincher and Osmond diamond stud earrings, quite possibly the perfect Christmas gift.
Fincher and Osmond Jewelers on McFarland.
We're not easy to find, but if you know where Edgar's Bakery is, you know where we are. I promise it will be worth it.
It's the Tuscaloosa Community Calendar, powered by Pepsi.
The West Alabama Chamber of Commerce encourages you to shop local this holiday season. They want you to flock to our local businesses. So join their Fa La 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 Men Go Shop Local Challenge. Each weekday morning, November 28th through December 16th, the Chamber will post a clue to which local business the Flamingo is hiding that day. The first person to find the Flamingo and bring it to the Chamber will receive a gift card to that location. Don't miss out on the clues. Follow on social media at West Alabama Chamber.
Hi, it's Chris Stewart. Make this holiday season an adventure and get an incredible deal at Townsend Honda. Shop Ford, Nissan, BMW, Chevrolet, Jeep, Lexus, and more. Celebrate Happy Honda Days at Townsend Honda and find fuel-efficient vehicles backed with a certified pre-owned warranty. Put a little holiday cash in your pocket. Make no payments until spring of 2023. Plus, we want to buy your car even if you don't buy from us. Happy Honda Days from all of us at Townsend Honda.
The sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Woo, man, it's been a fun show. A lot of true false. And we got Leon who called, responding out of that last segment. So we want to work him in really quick right here off the start. Leon, love it when you call. You're in with the Martin Houston Show with Martin, Xavier in D.C. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Martin, I'm confused. What's got me confused is I guess maybe I listen to these shows too much. You know, when I listen, what I hear don't put me where I am with my football knowledge and with what I've seen and what I've watched. You know, it's okay to be critical, and it's okay for people to have an opinion. But I think what we do is we allow our criticism to delve over into our analytics, and we overanalyze. Now, this is my opinion. Okay, now what happens is this: when you overanalyze, you tend to be unrealistic in your analysis because what you do is that's not an honest analysis. When you analyze, you got to do the whole thing. The fact of the matter is, hey, we're playing against opponents who are getting better. We seem to be, based on all the talk I'm hearing, not as, our usual. But Alabama did not have a bad football team. We lost 2 ball games. Nobody beat Alabama like the teams that usually get beat. But you're like, man, when you just listen without knowledge, you think that we done became Vanderbilt. No, we can easily make we falling off at, but we have to do that in a way that we've been doing. Coach the players up better and play a little better. But it's not that we played bad and nobody beat us. We didn't get beat all up. We lost 2 ball games.
Yeah, and Leon, what I would tell you is what my concern is Alabama used to have such a gap that us not playing our best, we could still win. In the last 2 seasons, Alabama's had double-digit 1-score games, which is to your point that the other competition is getting better, right? And so I agree with that. But the problem is the other competition is getting better, and we're having games. We had multiple games where we had 17, 12, and 10 penalties. And then we only had like 8 turnovers like all year from our defense. All of those things are things that point to lack of development, discipline, and coaching. And all I'm telling you is if we don't change that trend, everybody else is going to keep getting better because of the portal. And if we keep sliding, then what we've come to expect, which is unrealistic, is going to be disappointment. When I say Alabama sliding, Leon, that means that we're going to be 10-2 and 11-1 and be beat by LSU on overtime in Tennessee. You understand? I realize how unrealistic I am as an Alabama fan.
Okay. You know, who is to say that because we had the season we had, that this is what we're going to have? See, that's all I'm saying. Okay, one way or another, we'll find out. But I don't. My confidence level in Alabama football, based on my years and years of watching it, and especially these last 15, 16 years under Nick Saban, will trend back up because Nick Saban knows it's a problem. You know, he knows that, you can't, you won't be able to win ultimately by losing a couple of ball games. But now the reality is you can lose a couple of ball games. Huh? Yeah. You can play real well and look. I keep alluding to this because people don't seem to be paying any attention. Nobody beat us up. We just lost 2 ball games. No, we don't intend to lose no 2 ball games, and you can't lose 2 ball games and talk about being no national champion. But we lost 2 ball games, man, and it's not.
Thanks, Leon. You're right. Hey, DC, I'll let you have closing thoughts. Thanks, Leon. Leon, right, we lost 2 ball games. The question is, do we stop that trend without making coaching changes?
Well, we took a lot of time today talking about a football team, but I think we should have spent more time on a basketball team. We got something to be proud of this year, and I think Alabama has a chance to do something we've never done before. So just everybody pay attention to this basketball team going forward.
Yeah, and they're not sitting at number 4 hosting Memphis tonight, and going to be a great game. Alabama wins this game, then they go on to play Gonzaga. Could be the biggest 3-game stretch in the Crimson Tide basketball history. As we wrap things up, DC, I give you closing thoughts to wrap things up till next week.
Well, watch for Alabama basketball tonight. If they don't turn the ball over, win the rebounding, and they get that combination of 2 experienced guards in Amari Burnett and Mark Sears, along with all those 5 freshmen interchanging over the team, they got a chance to really win this game and do something big.
That's DC Capstone Report. You can find me at DCCapstoneReport.com, freelancepictures.com, and rolltopbama.com. Other sites that you can go to, get some great pictures, get great content, and DC, regular guest with us, and also dropping that regular podcast. DC, we'll catch up with you next week right here on the Martin Hughes Show with Martin and Xavier. Thank you, sir, and have a blessed day.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide at DC at David Cott 50. Man, there's a lot to get to. We're going to bring Curtis's question back in for tomorrow. We're going to bring in some more content from today, and we'll talk about this Bama basketball game on tomorrow. Can Nate Oates keep it rolling? We'll let you know on tomorrow. Roll Tide out there, everybody. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, always acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Have a blessed day.
We gonna celebrate and have a good time. Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we're looking good on this Tuesday morning. No active wrecks, everything pretty quiet on the roadways. Now, if you do see conditions, of course, give me a call. 205-886-8886. Here's a Christmas special from Townsend Nissan. $2,000 off every Armada, Murano, or Titan. It's Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Bob Baumhauer here. Are you out of ideas for those stocking stuffers? Our selection of delicious signature sauces make great stocking stuffers for that chef of the house. Kick up your favorite holiday dish with